We're Ashley and Sabrina,
your co-host for Ruck Up Buttercup podcast.
Military life can be challenging,
but also has its advantages.
Come and be part of the unfiltered
and sometimes unhinged conversations with fellow military spouses, Kayla and Laura, as we dive into the occasional rant
and brave of military life.
Share the stories that make us who we are,
and showcase the amazing organizations
and resources out there that make our lives a little bit better.
Whether you're new
or a seasoned military family,
we all need a little extra love.
So, Ruck Up Buttercup, we got your six.
Ruck Up Buttercup podcast can be found on all your favorite streaming locations. As well, we are now available on Reach Across America Radio on Fridays at 11 p.m. and Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can find Reach Across America Radio on the iHeartRadio app, the Odyssey app, and the TuneIn app. Just search the word Reach. Can't wait to see you there.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Ruck Up Buttercup. We are so excited for a new season. I can hardly believe this is year 5. We've been recording for 4 years are finished, so we're starting the 5th year. And as you guys remember from one of our last episodes, we mentioned that Kayla was joining us. So you have Kayla on here. Hi, Kayla.
Hi, I'm so excited to become a part of the crew.
Yes. We're so excited to have you.
So we have decided we're going to be a 3-part co-host. So you'll hear us in different episodes, kind of a variety of us, as well as we'll still be having our girl chats every other episode with Laura on. So there'll be 4 voices during that. So you get a kind of the chaos of all of our lives that are going on. But we are really excited for this new season. I know we have a ton of people on our guest list and we are really ready to just get going.
Yeah, it's going to be a really great season. For, like you said, I can't believe that we're going into the 5th year after just a little side conversation that me and Sabrina had. We're like, this would be fun. Let's add something else to our plate. It's become one of our favorite things to do. And we're so excited for Kayla to join us. Like we just said, I cannot wait to have new perspective, new stories, new everything. Freshness is just, all we are about. And it's perfect that we're going into a new year, new season with a new goal. So we want to jump into what we might do for 2025.
Right. I know we were talking about, so this episode's kind of like a mix between goals and rolling with the punches of what military life really does just throw at us every single day, which is why Laura's not on here. She was not well last night and was no way she was getting up this morning to record with us. So here we are. We were going to do introductions of us, but that will be in the next girl chat so you guys can get to know us a little bit better. But yeah, so life is chaotic. As you guys have, if you've been following, we had been out of work for about 3 months and we have a job finally, but
I'm so excited for you.
2 weeks to get there. And unlike, because as if you know, we are civilian on the civilian sector, we don't get the assistance that the military does to move. So we have to pull it all out of a magic hat and get to Arizona by January 6th. So
wow.
It sounds so stressful. I am the feels I'm feeling for you right now are I feel so overwhelmed for you.
Like any other month, it would have been totally fine, but right. Christmas in the middle, and we already had plans with all of our family, and then we have New Year's that we have to try to do something for the children because, of course, they're of an age where they get it. And so I'm like, I don't know. They're like, what are we gonna do for New Year's? I'm like, we might be in a hotel. I have no idea, you guys.
But it's a surprise.
It's a surprise, but I think one idea for New Year's because I feel like one of the things we've talked about this in past episodes where when we move someplace, which you don't have a lot of time to do research because it's 2 weeks and I know you're traveling to go pick up your stuff and everything like that, but maybe making that go explore something that day if you are there, if you're not back with family, go explore something, maybe find a really fun New Year's event happening in the area you're going to and make that, even if you are in a hotel, you can still find that silver line, still make it super fun, but it doesn't give you a lot of time to plan. Boy, oh boy. You knew it was coming, but then now that it's here, it's what do we do?
I think it was that we were expecting it to be in the area that we originally were applying for. So it was going to be a lot less of an adjustment, but now it's adding 12 hours further on the travel and stuff is crazy. It's crazy. It'll all be fine. By the time this episode comes out, we'll be in a house and that's fine. So
I can't wait to hear about your adventure in Arizona though. For those who are listening, Sabrina is not a warm weather girly.
Not a cold weather girly either. It has to be nice.
the straight up like 70 like sweatshirt weather. So this is going to be a really fun adventure for you guys because you guys are going from a pretty mild all season cold rainy weather environment to pretty much just hot as hell the entire time.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird for sure. I don't know, like we plan on hiking. Probably that's mostly the most we'll do, and then just stay at home and hide from it all.
I mean, I've only visited Arizona. Like, why? No, is that Arizona or is that Nevada? I feel like I'm gonna mess up something up. Is it White Sands? Is White Sands like resort? Is that Arizona or is that Nevada? I think that's Nevada.
I don't know for sure.
We can go to Vegas.
I know Vegas isn't far, and Dustin's been super adamant about not going to California, but I was like, it's just like right along the border here to like San Diego.
Ooh, maybe what I can do is I can do a road trip and see you guys, and then because my Joey, my little brother, it got stationed in California, so he just went out to California like 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
So,
Yep.
That's like the best thing about being a military spouse. You know people all along the way.
It is. We were like, so on Google, like Google Maps, you can look at like all the dots of like the places you've been. And because we've done the round trip from North Carolina to Colorado 4 or 5 times now, like there's dots all over. But I was like, this half of the country has like nothing going on. I was like, so now I was telling Kira, I was like, we can go up and explore all these different little areas on this side of the country that we haven't seen. So that's exciting.
Well, I love that perspective, trying to find the silver lining in a situation that maybe you're not super jazzed about. Right? Now you get to explore the West United States, places you've never been before.
That's my favorite thing about being a military spouse is that you get the opportunity to explore places that you may never even thought about going to or wanted to go to, but now that you're going, you get to go find those really fun spots, those fun things to do. And so I feel like there's so much cool things on that side of the country that people just don't think about.
Much outdoorsy stuff, which we love, like a lot of like national parks and stuff to see. So it'll be super fun. I know. I was thinking about it. We've been living essentially in Nebraska, basically for the most part of this last 3 months, and it's sad to see these people that like have never been outside of Nebraska. It's so weird because I'm like, I'm so used to having our military community that we're talking about how we love Germany and Italy and Texas.
They're all in headlines.
Yeah, they're like, oh, never been there, and you're like, okay, this is a great conversation.
That's how I feel here because, like, I mean, the universities here, and so there are a lot of people who are coming in, but there are so many people who have never even left these mountains, and I'm like, there's so much out there, and we are really fortunate that we get to experience that. That's part of being a military family is you do get to go experience these different places, and like it's so crazy. Like you don't even have to go to Germany to experience a different culture. Like to me, the United States, no matter where you go, there is so much different culture and traditions and everything in place that you could literally go one state over and it is like it could feel like a whole new world. And I do feel like we've talked about this in previous episodes where like the culture shock can be really crazy going from West Coast, East Coast, Midwest, South, all the places. And so I think that's just another really fun way. Like, even though I'm never going to leave the US. Like I'm not going to be able to travel overseas. You don't have to. Like there are pockets where you can get that same experience.
It's like even between big cities and small cities because people. So I've been messaging and people there in the area and talking to them. And they're like, "Well, there's gonna be a culture shock because it's a tiny town." And I'm like, "Well, we've been living in Nebraska, so I'm like, not so much at this point, but." Yeah, it is because if we'd have come straight from Germany, it'd been like this straight like cut off of like, oh, you have very little resources. You're in this tiny town. You're on the border of Mexico. Like, good luck. So it is good, probably good that we came to a place that we also small in between.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we talk about benefits of being a spouse. We talk about like the ups and the downs, and all the things that military life likes to throw at us, like short notice PCSing, schools that come pop up and things like that. It's part of our life. And I think that's what makes military spouses so resilient because like we're just so used to things popping up, whether it's military related or not, and I feel like we're really able to juggle those things. Sometimes we juggle them with finesse. Sometimes we wallow.
Sometimes we sit on the floor with our dog and our baby and record podcasts, right, Kayla?
Exactly. I had a neighbor tell me, she said, Kayla, you look like you have it so put together. You're taking on everything. I'm like, really? You sure? I don't feel like that.
I think military spouses, we look like that, and we're like, behind the scenes, our brains are like, I can't even handle what is happening right now.
Oh man, where did I see that? I saw something about that the other day where like, this is how I look on the outside, but on the inside, it's just pure chaos. And I think, you know, a lot of us put on this like front, and we put on this like brave face. We put on like, you know, we all doll up and like everything is fine, but it usually isn't. Like I mean, this past in November, we had to put our dog down. I was sick as a dog. There were so many things happening in a 2-week span period of time when Jeremy was gone that I was just like, why do we have to keep living through these kind of things? Like, but at the same time, it's so rewarding. Like yes, like he's gone. We went through some crazy shit like throughout our military career. He's going into his like 17th year in the military. Like, it's just part of life. And I literally laugh. Like, I'll cry for a second and then I just like like I think you both saw it. I don't know if you both saw it. I don't know if Kayla saw it, but I know Sabrina saw it. But I had made a couple of videos on TikTok about like Murphy Law. If you're a military spouse, you know who he is. He is an asshole. He shows his ugly face every single time, no matter what it was. And my experience this past time with him was just fucking hilarious, y'all. Go find my TikTok. I'm not going to go into it too much on here.
I could not even.
I could not. Like, I wasn't going to share it. I wasn't going to share it. But I was like, this is too fucking funny not to share it. Like, I need other spouses to know that shit will hit the fan. Literally will hit the fan. And it's okay. It's okay. That's why we are here. We are here to tell you that it's going to be a crazy ride. Things are going to happen that you never thought it's going to happen to you. And it does. Whether it's embarrassing, funny, sad, I went through every single freaking emotion in a 2-week span period. And oh goodness, y'all.
But you're not alone, so you know.
You're not alone.
No, I had that same problem after a hockey game. We went and ate Mediterranean beforehand, and I got food poisoning. The whole hour drive back, we had to stop so I could poop on the side of the road. It was so bad.
I was laughing so hard. Devlin, I feel like I have to share it now for those who are not on TikTok, because you might not find it if you're not on TikTok. So, okay. So really quick, because I think it's just so funny to share. Because so I had woken up, take my kids to school. I was like, I'm going to go do some Christmas shopping. Today I can go do some Christmas shopping. So I went to town. It's like a 40-minute drive from where we're at right now to all the bigger stores. Did some Christmas shopping, got me a little Starbucks. That's where I went wrong, y'all. Haven't had Starbucks in a couple weeks. And go about shopping and everything like that. I get to the school to pick the kids up, and I'm like, oh, my tummy hurts. Like, I don't feel very well. But I'm like, okay, great. Like, the kids are getting released in like 3 minutes. It's fine. I'll go grab them. We'll get home. We live like 3-4 minutes from the school. Well, of course, this is the one day that my daughter takes her sweet baby Jesus little booty, like, just takes her time getting from her classroom to the thing. So I'm sitting going like, oh, my stomach hurts. I'm like, all right, let's go, y'all. Like, I have to go potty. Like, get in the car. Let's go. So we're driving home. And when the kids were little, we were teaching them potty training. We used to sing this song, go like, you know, I got $1 from Little Rascals. But we changed it. We go, I got to poop. I got to poop. I got to poop. Hey, 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 hey. So we were singing that, kind of joking. I get real quiet, real quiet, y'all. My son goes, Mom, are you okay? And I'm like, I don't think so. And he's like, what do you mean, Mom? And I'm like, okay, I think I might have pooped my pants. And he's like, well, what do you mean you think? I was like, you would feel something, right? And I was like, I feel something. Y'all, I made the tiniest little toot. The tiniest toot. And I fucking sharted my pants. So funny. And I was like, I cannot believe this is happening. So my kids thought it was hilarious.
I love that.
They were like, I gotta tell everyone. I was like, you cannot tell a single soul. And I was like, okay, well, wait, you can go tell Miss Bethany down the road, because I had messaged her, my friend here, and I had told her, because I was just like, I cannot believe like this shit keeps happening, and she's not military
Literally.
related. And I was just like, oh my god. And so I sat on this thing for like 2 or 3 days, and I was like, I'm not gonna tell anyone else. I think I sent Sabrina a message about it, because it's like I have to share it with somebody, because it's just too funny. Like Murphy, he should, whether it's a sick kid, a piped burst, or you poop your pants, shows up. But you know what? Everything, we got a funny story out of it. The kids had a fun time telling dad about it. And I was like joking, like, oh, this is all that's going to happen, which it wasn't all that happened. More things happened. We ended up having, like I said, put our dog down. I got really sick, and
all it takes is 2 weeks. 2 weeks, and Murphy's like, all right, let's see what I can do.
3 days. Like 3 days for just a bunch of other stuff to happen. That wasn't even all of it. Like there was some other things that happened, but I was just like, oh, of course, Murphy, you asshole, you are here again. But it is what it is. If you prep for it, it's gonna feel really shitty, really bad. You're gonna want to cry when it happens. But when you can look back at it and laugh your butt off, like it just makes. I mean, I don't know. Like I hate those experiences for those people who are going through them, but at the same time, like I'm just like, what's Murphy gonna do this time? Like that's just how I look at it. Like, what's he gonna bring on my plate this time? Because what's gonna be my breaking point? Poop wasn't it. That wasn't my breaking point, just so you guys know.
That's impressive.
That would be me hiding in bed the rest of the day. I'm like, I can't. I don't want to do anything else.
And I was completely fine after that, y'all. Like I was totally fine after that. Like I was like, man, I really hope this wasn't, because there was a nasty stomach bug going around at that time, and I was like, I swear to God, if I have this stomach bug, we are gonna have problems. But yeah, no, it was great. I cannot believe I just told the story again.
Everyone,
you're welcome for our listeners.
I think everyone has a Murphy story. Like if you've been in long enough, you've got your own Murphy story. And you know what I love is you spoke about how you were just utterly mortified. You didn't use toxic positivity. Everything will be fine, right? You were like, no, I was bad. This was bad. And that's so important, because when you're a military spouse and you're in that moment, Murphy's here, you are at your worst. And then you go on TikTok and someone's like, this is all great. Everything is fine. This is an amazing life. It's not, it makes you feel pretty cruddy about yourself.
Yeah. Anyone who tells you that military life is like, it is beautiful, but it is also so unbelievably challenging. There are some it's going to test you in ways that you never thought it would test you. It will test your relationships. It will test your mental, your physical well-being. It's going to do all the things, and it can make you stronger if you choose to let it make you stronger. If you choose to take the lessons you're learning and all those things in, it can better you, but it can also make you at your worst. So you have to take each day step by step. Like it's never going to be the same. Every experience you're going to have, you could say, I could say, I have PCS. I don't even know. I can't even, I've lost count of how many times I've PCS'd with the military. As a spouse, I think we've PCS'd 5 times. But I grew up military, so every PCS is different. Every training cycle is different. Every job is different. And so it's never going to be experience. Your experience isn't going to be the same as mine or Sabrina's or Callie's. It's always going to be different. And so you have to take it step by step, day by day. Take advice. Don't let those Debbie Downers ruin the experience for you. I say that all the time. I hate the bad apples. I don't hate, it's a strong word. I really dislike when people are just like negative Nancy's, because just because someone has a bad experience doesn't mean you will.
No, and that's something that you see we talk about it on social media all the time, but I was just seeing it. I made a post about, hey, we're moving the area. What are the good areas for housing, right? And we got this girl who's like, well, if you're moving the area, then you're not going to find anything good for housing. Why would you move here if you want a good place to live? And it's like, do you think I have a choice? Like, hello, this is where we have to move. So I get it, but there are better housing areas. Like, I'm not dumb. I've lived in Fort Hood. I've lived there. I've lived at Fort Bragg. I know that there are going to be better and worse areas. Like, I know that it's not ideal. Like, whatever, that's fine. But like, please don't just come on my post and tell me everything here sucks, everybody's gonna hate it. It's like, no, that's not true. We'll be fine. Stop.
Well, and you have to go in with the thought of, you have to find what like fits for your family, what fits for you and your kids or your spouse and whatever it may be. You know, it's one of those things where if you go in with a negative mindset, you're going to have a negative experience no matter what you do. You have to go in with, okay, well, I heard this wasn't the great, but let's give it a chance. If it doesn't work for us, it doesn't work for us. But I don't, like, it's one of those things where, like, I usually don't give negative. Like, if someone's asking for opinions on something like that, I try to give, like, positive. Like, we had a great experience. This was our experience. If there is a negative, I don't give details. Like, I'm just like, hey, this wasn't a fit for our family. It wasn't a fit for our family. If you would like more details, I would be happy to share it with you in a message. But like at the same time, like this is a personal opinion for me, but I personally feel that there are just people out there who have nothing better with their lives but to be negative Nancy's, to just bring negativity because they're in such a bad state because they're choosing to be in a negative state, whether it's circumstantial, whatever the case may be. I don't know. I just feel like I see people, the same people, just constantly post negative things or being negative or being rude or being disrespectful and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, why can't we just be kind to each other? And so when we get, military spouses get such a bad rep. And I'm just like, why? Because there's people like Sabrina and Kayla and all of our amazing coordinators at Deployed Love who generally just want to help people navigate military life because we all know how shitty it can be.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have those people who aren't even trying to make it better, just cause more.
Yeah, none of us get a choice on where we're going. Like it is ultimately down to whatever the government says. That's where we go. It's like why bring that negativity? And we are such a small community. Like the military is tiny.
Yeah.
You're at one base, the next base, those people are going to see you and still know you. Like you can't just escape your reputation because like I was thinking about our last duty station in Germany. Like there was a few people that are super just not easy to get along with. And it's like, if they ever ended up at a base that we were at, I would just avoid them entirely. They're not getting a second chance because they've already, like, I had cut them out because of the negativity. It's like, that goes with you. So don't be that person where you're, like, recognized as being the negative person or the person who's just kind of putting things down. Because, like, they're not going to forget. Like, I remember people and they'll be like, oh, do you remember me from this duty station? I'll be like, yeah, but that's why we're not friends on Facebook. Like...
Well, and like I said, there are things that can be subsistence. Oh my gosh, I cannot speak today. There are things that can be causing that person to have a bad experience and things like that. And we do have to give grace. Like we talk about that all the time too. Like give grace when's due, but like if it's consistently and constantly, know when to cut your losses, know when to move on with a different relationship. And you have to just you have to do what's best for you. Like, I think that's the best thing that we can say. Like, don't try to do, I mean, I can't believe I'm about to say this. Don't try to do all the things because we all know that I do all the things. But that makes me happy. Those things make me happy. So, like, even though there'll be times where I'm really, really stressed about something, I know that if it wasn't in my life, I wouldn't be who I am or happy. So you have to find that balance when it comes to your relationships with your spouse, with other spouses, with your connection with the military, whether you're volunteering or things like that. So it is, it can be chaotic. We talk about that. Like, that's just welcome to the world of chaos.
Yeah, Ashley, so would you say that like those things in your life help you be like resilient and roll with the punches, so to say?
Yeah, so to say. So like, I mean, if you've listened to our podcast for the last 4 years, you'll know that I became a part of Deployed Love because I needed some fulfillment in my life. I was working for my family. It wasn't a job I was really wanting to do. I've always been a huge advocate for military families growing up because I grew up military and then became a military spouse pretty quickly. And I just know how hard it is to be a military family as a kid and as a spouse. And so when I came across Deployed Love, when my husband actively was one of the very first like rapid deployments that happened in 2019 when on the January 31st of or December 31st of 2019.
I think it, yeah.
And we had some of our volunteer photographers through Deploy Love say, hey, like, we want to do something special for these families. They did a quick pop-up, like, photos, and I was one of those families, and I was like, I love this. And I was like, I could get behind this organization. Like, this is such a great thing. Like, you know, deployments are hard. We had not gone through a deployment yet with our kids at that time. I had gone through several with my husband prior to kids. This was our first, like, time where the kids were away from their dad due to a deployment. And so COVID hit, and so there wasn't a lot happening. And so when Sabrina had started posting more about, like, doing the holiday minis of 2020, I was like, I have to be a part of this. So I think I messaged her like 2 or 3 times. I was like, how can I help? Like, what can I do? Like, is there anything I can do? And I mean, that was 4 years, going 5 years now, 4 years ago, where I became a part of Deploy Love. I've worked, you know, started coordinator, became a part of the exec team. Now I'm the executive director. And it's one of those things where I love this organization so much and it fulfills me so much. But at the same time, like, there's been times during this journey where I'm just like, I don't know if I can move on because, like, too much on my plate. Because on top of running the organization, I also work full time for my family business. I have 2 small elementary age kids. I'm a military spouse, so, like, you know, constantly juggling military life. And so scouts and all the kids' activities and all the things. So there's always been times where I'm like, do I give up something? And it's always like, first thought is Deploy Love. And I'm like, I can't give up on that because it fills my bucket so much that it's really hard for me to get rid of. So, like, I've taken myself out of other things. Like, you know, right now I'm not doing FRG stuff because I don't have to, but I know when we get back to our next duty station, I'll probably have to, just because of my husband will be a first sergeant. But unless there's someone already there, and then that would be great. But I do enjoy doing a lot of things. I mean, I'm subbing now too. But I'm subbing because I work from home and I'm remote right now. I'm not at a duty station. I'm in the middle of the mountains in Virginia. I'm not surrounded by people who are going through the same things as me. And I became pretty depressed. I was really having that cabin fever. I was not completing tasks because I was just like, not staying on task because I was just not in a good state of mind. And so I was like, well, maybe I'm already at the school doing, like, stuff with the PTA. I'll sub like 1 day a week to get me out of the house, get me surrounded by people. And that's actually helped a lot with my mental capacity. Like, you know, I've been feeling better, things like that. But that was just one thing I put on. But, like, I knew I had to do something. Whereas, like, I'm an installation, I'm able to do, like, Deployed Love events, and I'm able to do, like, coffees, and I'm able to get out and do things, but I wasn't able to do that here. And so, yeah, I added another thing to my belt, but I know that is so short lived in the grand scheme of things, that this is just something to pay for a trip that I have coming up that I'm very excited for. And then 2, it's helping me get out of my head a little bit. And so, but because of that, I didn't do any of my, like, I don't think I reached any of my goals that I set in 2024, other than my reading goals. But, like, you know, I think I said I was going to be, like, more organized and be on top of everything. Definitely did not do that at all. Like I said, and a lot of that came down to my mental stability of, like, I was just like, I'm not going to handle that today. Like, I just don't have the mental capacity to do that. And unfortunately, like, it's put it, like, I'm kicking myself in the ass for not doing things that I said I was going to do, just because, like, now I have to kind of, like, really get on top of it and things like that. But, like, I was in such a dark place that I was just like, you know, I was fighting with my husband. I was, you know, constantly snapping at the kids. And I was like, this is just not, I can't keep going on like this. I have to take a step better. I had gained all the weight I had lost back. And I'm just like, I'm done. So I decided to be a sub in October, after several of the teachers were like, can you please sign up to be a sub? Like, we need you here. And I was like, well, I can, but like I said, I can only do it like 1 or 2 days, like 1 day a week, maybe 2 days max. And so, and I'm really enjoying it. I really am. I know Sabrina's laughing because I was kind of complaining about it before we came on, but I'm only complaining about it just because of a couple other, there's a couple things that are going into that. But I know that that's not something I'm going to do long term. Like that is just here for the time being, and that will be coming off my plate. I'm hoping that we PCS soon too.
Yeah.
Our paperwork is still sitting on someone's desk right now. My husband has requested to leave his duty station early. He's on a special duty assignment for ROTC, for those who are just listening. But he got promoted in October. This assignment does nothing for his career. And so we've requested to leave early. So I'm hoping like we'll PCS like June timeframe, May, June timeframe. I was hoping earlier, but I don't think that's gonna happen at all. And I hope we go back to Fort Liberty. And everyone's listening probably going like, why? I have my reasons, y'all. But that's where I've requested to go. And I really hope we go back and it'll be a great experience. I hope. We'll see.
Yeah. So talking about goals, you were talking about your 2024 goals. So I don't feel like it went too bad because like you said, my reading goals, I originally had set mine to 12 because I knew that that wasn't what I was focusing on last year, and now I'm at almost 100. So like clearly I read, and the only other thing that I think I did consistently do was hobbies, which is really good because of especially these last 3 months, I've had nothing to do with my life. So I recently started crocheting. I started writing the book. So there's things that I did do, but mass majority of anything that was on my goal list was just like, yeah, that's not happening.
Oh,
because we knew about this move, like his other job ending starting in like March. So I've just been in this like, I don't know what we're gonna do literally the entire year.
Well, and you were like really being cautious too with like spending and things like that because you knew this was coming.
Yeah.
I did get a tattoo. So I did. That was, I mean, I guess that's not really a goal, but that was something I wanted to do in 2024. I did get a tattoo. I didn't hit my hiking at all. I did do a lot more hiking this year, which I absolutely love, but I definitely did not hike 100 miles. It was probably more like 50, 60-ish.
Yeah, we did the 1,000-hour challenge. I think we got to about 600, which is, we could do better. I think we'll do really well in Arizona, though. We should be able to pull that off and stay outside most of the time and get those hours.
I don't even know why I didn't hit it. Like, I had all this well, first off, this past summer, I don't know about y'all, but the summer went by so freaking fast. Like, we didn't do anything other than our little trip to the boathouse, and I was just like, I had all these like fun like places for us to go explore during the summertime, and we didn't do any of it. And I was just like I felt like once that got over, I was just like, it was just bam, 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 and I just felt like the time ran out, and I just didn't have all the time. I did buy all the stuff to do rebinding. I haven't done a whole like book from scratch, but I have rebound 2 books. So kind of met that quota goal. I started a new hobby. That was a new hobby. I just, like I said, like finding the time or prioritizing things for me was so hard this year because, like I said, I was in that like state of not wanting to do stuff. I was finding myself mindlessly scrolling on the phone. And so the last like few weeks, I've been like, I've barely been on TikTok. I think I haven't posted in like 2 weeks. I posted one video yesterday. And I've enjoyed it. Like I've enjoyed not having that, but I've also just been a lot more busy. Like I've just been like subbing here, subbing there, working here, working there, Christmas shopping because we're moms and we do everything. So having to get all that together. And so I think for 2025, and I don't know how if you're feeling this way, but I don't think I'm going to set goals necessarily. Like because I feel like if I have a goal, like I'm kind of bummed that I didn't meet some of these goals that I said I was going to meet, but I think I want to set intentions more, like, or I want to use the word intentions than goals. Mm-hmm. Like even with reading, like I hit my reading goal. I'm reading, like I did 24 books in 2024 that I wanted to read. I am reading. I don't know if I'll finish it in 2024 because I started Way of the Kings. It's a big ass book, y'all. But I don't think I'll have it finished in the next 2.5 weeks. So, but I started it. But I don't think I'm setting reading goals this year because I set reading goals and like I said, like I'm going to try new genres, which I did and I loved. But then I kind of like took myself out of some of the other genres that I really liked, and then I found myself getting bored with some of the books because I was just like, no, I can't read that. I can't read that genre. So, and I also said that I wasn't going to read series, or I was going to try to do series broken up, and I hated that. Like, I'm reading 2 series right now, and I'm getting them confused because I'm taking breaks between the series. And I'm not, I have to, if I start a series, I have to finish that series like back to back. I can't mix other books in. So I'm going back to that next year because I can't take breaks between series. I kudos to those who do it, but my ADHD brain does not handle multiple verses inside at one time.
I really like how you said you were going to set intentions instead of goals, right? So when I think about a goal, I think of, if you've heard of the SMART goals, right? They have to be specific, measurable, realistic, time bound, so on and so forth. And I actually never set them because, military life, like, I have no idea what's realistic. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yes. Yeah. That was my thought process too, because everything changes so quickly, and right now everything's in the unknown. Like we know we're going to be moving at some point next year, whether it's early or if it's going to be next December. But that's the thing, like, or you never know what's going to happen. Like, I had all these intentions of, I don't know, like eating better, working out, like, the typical New Year resolution type of thing. And I was like, I said I was going to work out 5 days a week, but then I didn't work out 5 days a week. So then I guess I have to start over, but then I don't start over. So it was just like up and down, like just a roller coaster. And I'm like, I don't want to do that again this year. I just want to, I think my intention this year is to have a better outlook of myself. And that can just look a couple different things, like whether I am doing it through exercise, eating, I don't know, whatever I feel in that moment. I'm such a mood person. Like I'm learning that more and more, that I am a mood person. My mood really does affect what I'm interested in and what I do at that time, what I'm reading, what I do, what I'm eating, all the different things. And seasons play a role. Like it's so, I don't know what it is.
I hear you saying, like, you want to practice self-love and, like, honoring how you feel in that moment and giving yourself that, instead of, like, putting these arbitrary, like, I have to do this at this time, but kind of listening to yourself and, like, there's a reason I want this right now, so I'm going to do it right now. And, kind of living moment to moment. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I was thinking about goals too, and it's like at this point, like, we're in such a place of transition that I don't know what our life's even gonna look like. Maybe my kids get more involved in sports or things like that. So putting goals out of like, hey, we want to do this or that is not really realistic. Like, we don't know what they're gonna be interested in there. It's kind of, especially after some years in Germany where they didn't have that options, like those options to do different things, that they're gonna want to do it. And so it's gonna be a weird year. But at the same time, I feel like I need goals, because if I don't have something tangibly written down, I feel like I am just gonna be like, yeah, did I do hobbies this year? I don't know, because I wasn't tracking it, I wasn't paying attention. Like, I have nothing like showing where I want to be by the end of the year. So I don't know how I'm gonna do with goals, because I don't really want anything like super specific, like you were saying. Like, I don't want numbers on a page. I don't want that. That's not helpful to me, because life has proven to throw really weird things at us. So
I feel like if it has like a specific number on there, if I get to a point where I'm like, this isn't realistic anymore, so I'm not going to meet it, then I just stop it and I don't continue it. Like, I had this goal of hiking 100 miles, and I don't think that's a lot, but because I got to like August and I was only at like 30 miles, I was like, there's no way I can do another 70, 60 miles or whatever I wanted to do before the end of the year, just knowing like weather and like, some of our schedule. So I was just like, I just kind of stopped. I didn't stop all the way. Like, I have done hikes between then and now, but I didn't do as many as I could have done. And so I feel like I have that mindset, which I think I need to change that mindset of, just because you won't reach that goal, you don't have to stop that goal at the point where you have decided that you won't reach that goal.
Yeah, I
like that a lot. Yeah. That's giving yourself grace of like what is actually realistic.
Yes.
Yeah.
We talk about that all the time. Like, you have to give yourself grace. You have to give your service member grace. Your everyone you surround yourself with grace when it comes to different things. And so why wouldn't you give yourself grace? Like, right? Like, so having grace with yourself, knowing that things are going to change, things are going to pop up and be different. You never know when the military is going to be like, you're going on a deployment, you're PCSing early, you are on a special duty assignment, you're going to this course. Like, you never know when those things are going to hit your doorstep. And so I do feel like having goals for military families can be challenging because of that. But I do, like, Sabrina, like, having that something tangible to work towards is really fun. Like, I set a goal last year to go on a trip this year, next year, and we had every intention of going on we'll be married for 15 years in August. And because because we are requesting to PCS early, we know that trip won't happen because we'll be just getting to a new duty station. And so I was really bummed about it at first because I was like, we were supposed to do a trip on our 10-year anniversary. COVID.
It's so the military. Like, I mean, that's what we had a plan to go to Scotland. We have all the money is still sitting in a savings account. I don't think it's going to live. I don't think it's going to survive Christmas and this move. And it's so sad because it's like, man, we had that plan because it was 15 years for us too. And it was just like, it's right there. We were so close. And then the military was like, ha ha ha, you get to move across the country. So it's like,
Well, and we had like this, like, we wanted, because like, even though, I mean, we've been married for 15 years, we've been together for almost 19 years, and we've never taken a full-fledged trip, like an actual vacation. All of our vacations, air quotes, vacations have been to visit families wherever we've been stationed. So if we were stationed in Alaska or in Texas, it was just to come back to the East Coast to visit family. We have gone on like weekend trips to the beach, but like for those aren't necessarily like vacations to me. Those are just like weekend getaways. Like, they're not like, we're not going and exploring a new place. We did go to Disney with my parents, but my husband didn't get to go with us. So it was just me and the kids. And yes, that was a vacation.
But it does not feel like one.
It wasn't like granted, it was so much fun, but like, we went with my parents and my siblings and my sister and her kids. Like, there was like 11 of us. And I was just like, and I planned the whole thing. And so like, for me, I was in like work mode. Like, I was like, are you sure everyone's having a good time? Like, did you like this? Da, 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 da. And I was like, no, like, next time I go, if we go again, it's going to be just me, my husband, my kids, maybe grandparents, but that would be like the max of it. And everyone will be doing their own thing next time. Like, I will not be planning anybody's itinerary because there got to a point where I was just like, bite me. Like, I'm so tired of all of your guys' attitude. I've asked you guys over the last year what you guys wanted to do, and you're like, just plan it, Ashley. Just plan it.
No, just hire a travel agent, Ashley.
Well, I did. I had a travel agent, but I did utilize a travel agent. Don't get me wrong. Like, so she did a lot of the major things, but like the day-to-day things, like, where we were gonna start, where if we were gonna do like, which restaurants were we gonna go to, were we gonna do a character dinner,
like I don't know, free for all, see you later.
Whew, it was so much fun, but like, also just going on a vacation with a lot of people is really taxing to begin with. And so we did have a honeymoon, because when we got married, we were supposed to have this really big wedding. My grandparents got really, really sick. They were really important people in my life. And so we had postponed our wedding. We were going to elope so that way we could get married and move in together. We were going to postpone our wedding to the following year, like for family and stuff. Well, that ended up not happening either because military life. And so we never actually had a wedding. We didn't go on a honeymoon, none of that kind of stuff. And so we just continued, like, we just moved into together, like into an apartment together. Like, that was the only difference.
It's crazy how that is like so many people's story in the military. I mean, maybe not anymore. We've talked to like girlfriends and stuff who like they just follow along as a girlfriend and they didn't rush into that. But I feel like, Kayla, you can tell your story. I mean, we all got married in courthouses or like eloped, like minor tiny baby weddings, because that's what the military kind of like expected us to do in order to get it done quickly.
Absolutely. We had to like roll with the situation. So we got married 11 years ago. We had been engaged for a year and a half, and he got orders to Germany. And so in order to go over there, we had to get married. So we went to the courthouse. We literally walked there from my apartment, got married, and just like 2 weeks ago, finally had our wedding after 11 years. Because the time was right. We had just moved. We had to get the baby baptized. Our son's starting first communion. We said, okay, well, while we're going through all these holy sacraments, let's just get the holy sacrament of marriage done. And so we did. And so that's kind of like my intention moving forward, is like, I just kind of listen. I listen to what the universe is telling me. Like, okay, I'm here in this office right now. I have time. Let's do this now. Like, just kind of not planning, because I get stressed out when I plan so much and it never works out.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a little pessimistic, but I get stressed out when it doesn't. So I've just been kind of just listening to what the universe is telling me. Like, I just had a job opportunity come my way, and I have this other intention of not letting my career interfere with taking care of my family. And this job would allow me to do both quite easily. I wasn't looking for a job or anything. It just kind of fell into my lap. I said, okay, well, here's a sign. I'll go for it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of stepping back and listening, as opposed to trying to take control over everything. Cause I've done that for maybe the past 10 years, and it didn't work so well for me.
I think really good advice from seasoned spouses is like, sometimes you have to give up the control and just roll with the punches. Absolutely. And just see how life takes you. And I know that can be really, really hard for people who like control, like myself. I don't like when things, I'm a planner. Like, anytime we PCS, I am planning it. I am looking at like all the different things, like what's around, what's there, what's not. And it stresses me out. And so I think having that, like, it can be very hard to let go of the reins. But like in military life, there's so much out of our control that we want to grasp the things that we do have control over. But like planning like things that are out is so hard for us to do, because we don't know where we'll be at that stage, or where our spouse will be at that stage. I think we've talked about doing a wedding in that too. And we kind of made the decision, like, okay, as much as like that would be fun to do, like, do we really want to put that much money into something that we're already married? And that's where we're like, well, we'll go on a really grand trip. Like, we'll go overseas. We'll do this like 2-week long trip. And then I'm like, well, of course it didn't happen.
Well, I feel like you're talking about the control. The control is so hard. Like, we've been talking with the kids, and like, there are gonna be moments where mom just needs to sit in silence and like mentally wrap around like what the next hour is. I was like, we are literally right now on an hour-to-hour basis. Like, my sister's like, can you come down early and do this? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I can't communicate with you right now about anything. I'm like, this is what our schedule looks like for the next 2 weeks. I'm like, after that, we have to figure out how to get to Arizona. I'm like, I don't know I know that they were all expecting us to live in the area. And so I think they're all kind of like, give me more time before you leave, kind of thing. And it's like, I don't know how to help you. I don't know how to make that work, because I am very, very, very OCD about like control things. And like, even yesterday we had to repack and move out of the house that we've been staying in for the last 3 weeks. And it's like, the kids wanted to pack, and I'm like, no, don't touch that. Don't move. Don't do anything. Like, don't do anything unless I tell you literally to do it. Because it's like, I want to make sure what got packed in what suitcase, what got packed in what bag, like, I need to know where everything is, because with so many moving parts, otherwise I'm like, I'm going to lose my mind. Like, because you're going to ask me where this shoe is, and I'm going to be like, I don't know, because you packed it in whatever bag you felt like packing it in, and I have no idea where it is. So it's like, I am crazy about control. The military makes me nuts during these kind of times.
And it's so crazy. Like, when you talk, like, we're all talking, like, I feel like we all are like, we want control. And then as we're getting like, we know things that we can give up. Like, we can like, okay, it's out of my control. I'm not going to stress about it. I might be a little upset about it. I might stress like 2 seconds, but then at the end of the day, we know we have no control with it. And we know, I hate the saying where, what you signed up for, but you kind of, you knew that you're joining your service member on a journey where the military comes first. I mean, plain and simple. I mean, as much as like you can say that he puts me first, if the military says he has to go, he has to go. There's no choice about it. And so you have to take what is given to you and make, like, see that silver lining, see what you can make the best out of it.
I feel like it's funny because like in our situation, when it comes to me, and where if Dustin's like, oh, everything will fall into place, I'm like, I don't know how that's gonna happen. Like right now, I have no idea how that's like my brain can't wrap around it. But when he's like, I can tell he's stressed. I'm like, hey, it'll be okay. Like we have a road trip, we'll have plenty of time to talk. Like it's gonna be fine. We get like a vacation. We'll be without our kids for a week and a half, basically, right before Christmas. Like what a nice time to have a little vacation. I'm like, and so that I can also be like, oh, everything's gonna be okay, because that's, as a military spouse, that's my side of the job, is to like be his support system. And so he'll see me stressed out, but I can't let him be stressed out, because I'm like, we have to be okay, because this is your job, this is your career on the line. Like whatever happens, we'll get there. If the kids gonna have to stay somewhere, whatever, like we'll get there. But like when it comes to me, it's the other way. It's funny.
And I think you're in a different situation, because you guys are like on the contractor side, so like there could be an end of the tunnel like experience for you, but like yours is gonna be different than like mine and Kayla's, where our husbands are like I know there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I know Jeremy's not staying in the military for forever. Like I know that, you know, he's 4 years away from 20. Now he may stay in a little after 20. We haven't really had that conversation. I think he will, just because of where he's at in his career. But I know that we have a light at the end of the tunnel, and I know that everything that we're going through isn't forever. And I think that's like, you know, if you're going through a really rough patch in the military community, just know that this isn't going to be your forever. Like this is in the grand scheme of things, it is a very short time of your relationship. So if it's messing with your relationship, if you're like, I can't do this anymore, think about it. Take a step back and think about it for just a minute. Can you go another 2, 3, 4 years? 10 years, depending. I mean, it really does depend on what MOS, what their career path is. I mean, there's been so many parts during our journey where I'm just like, dang, like I grew up military. This is the only life I know, but I'm so sick of it. And then I'm up here on the special duty assignment. I'm like, I cannot wait to get back to the military community, y'all. Like it's so weird. It's so weird that we can have those emotions where we're like, I cannot wait until the day that we're out of the military. And then you'll get to the point where I'm like, man, I really miss it. Like I miss the community. I miss the, you know, the found family, the experiences you get to have, whether you get to travel, you get to go to a new place. Like if you really do like moving all the time, I don't know what I'm going to do when we officially like retire and we are not moving, because we've only been here for a year, and I'm like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I am so ready to go on to our next duty station. I love where we at. Don't get me wrong. I love our experience here, but I'm also ready just to go on to our next chapter. And that might not be for everyone. I mean, like I said,
I like it. Yeah, I like the changing and redecorating my house, and like the new adventures, the new places to explore, like we talked about earlier. Like it's just so fun, and I think that's why we're okay with the contract life. Like you're saying, yeah, there is no light at the tunnel. I have no idea what this looks like for the rest of our future. But his job was so specialized that there is just nothing in the civilian world that isn't associated with the military for what he does. It just is what it is. And so we're okay with it. I think we were talking about like settling down here, and I think it was kind of honestly making us both like, do we want, like, it's been nice to be around my family for 3 months, and we've gotten to do all the major holidays with them, but like I don't know that I could do this on a regular basis, where we were in Shatter, and my dad just shows up. He's like, hey, you want to go to lunch? He's like, we were all in pajamas. I was like, oh,
about that so much. Like you are definitely one of those like individuals. Like for me, I'd be like, heck yeah. I do enjoy being near family, but I think we've talked about this in the past where you're just like, I like being it's a planned visit. Like I know.
I treasure those moments too, because then we can actually do fun things. Where I feel like if you're in a daily routine of people, it's like, oh, maybe we got lunch together, but we didn't like, the kids didn't all get together and we went to Elitch's, or, you know, we didn't get to go do these fun things, because that's just everyday life, and life becomes so blurry that like, I know my sisters, they live in like 30 minutes from each other, and they see each other maybe once a month, and it's like, that's crazy. Like you live that close. I would want to, I have different expectations, I guess, of my family if I were to live that close.
Yeah.
And then so it's like I'd rather just have the distance, and then you guys come to me, and then we have these special moments, or I come back and visit, and we can have a lot more. It's like vacation versus everyday life, I think.
And everyone's different. Like we all know we have different backgrounds, different traditions and things like that. Like when we retire, we will be really close to my mom. and my sister and stuff like that. And I'm just like, it might be really tough for us. Like, you know, I love my family dearly, but we are all hotheads. Like, we are, like, we are all cut from the same cloth, and it can get kind of heated at times. And you know, that's just like, we're learning that, like, as we're spending more and more time. Like, you know, we're they're only 3 hours from me right now. If we go back to Fort Bragg, they'll be like a little under 4 hours. So like, we're still really close to family, like close enough that we can just spend holidays and stuff together, and it's not a huge financial burden on our family. And I'm very fortunate, and it's one of the reasons why I want to go back to Fort Liberty and not another location, because I do really enjoy having my parents and my husband's parents and our siblings close by, but far enough that we're still planning our like time together. So, you know, especially now that my sister-in-law has just had her second baby, and I was like, we've talked about going to Italy, or Jeremy wants to go back to Alaska. I don't. I loved it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm done it. It's checked off my list. I'm good to go. And I was just like, I don't want to miss this. If we don't have to, and we can go back to a place where we can request it, because we've never really requested anywhere we go. I was like, if we can request where we go, I want to go back there. I was like, I have a tribe there. We have friends. You have friends. I have friends. Our family's nearby. It's the perfect place for us. Is Liberty the best place? Probably not. It's not the best installation. I mean, none of them are, I really feel like. They all have their pros and cons. I love Liberty. Like, I love the location of it, to everything. And I just, that's where I'm going to go. So thankfully, he's like, okay, he keeps saying, I'll do this for you, because he will go back to a unit that will probably rapidly deploy again. He's going to be on the IRF. But I was like, I feel like if something crazy happens, no matter where you go, your MOS is going no matter what. So whether it's a 2-hour, 24, 2-week recall, you're going to go. So at least I'll be set up for myself if that happens. But if we're in Alaska or if we're somewhere else, I won't be. So having those conversations is so important too, when you come to having, like, don't feel like you don't have a say. Sometimes you don't, but you can have those conversations. You can have those, like, you know, if we get the choice, this is where I would like to go. We talk about that too. Communication is so important. And you have to keep up with that. And you have to continuously have those conversations, because your life changes so often. And if you're like, you know, what you guys agreed to last year is probably not going to be what you guys can do the following year, because things change. And just I roll with the punches. Like, I don't like I don't know if there's another way to say it. Like,
I always think of the serenity prayer, and I'm not like super religious, but I feel like I've sounded super religious on this recording today. But like, it's about, you know, accept the things that I can't change or I cannot change, and, you know, be empowered to change the things I can.
yeah.
And I always think about that. Like, can I realistically affect any change in this? No. Okay. So there's no point in worrying about it. It's actually kind of funny. My 4-year-old is like, Mom, you need to do this. Or Mom, stop talking. Mom, stop singing. I'm like, honey, you can't control what other people do. She's like, yes, I can. Girl.
I love that. So I think last year, we've done this the last couple years, but I don't have, so we've always picked a word for like what we're going to embody every year. I don't have a word this year, because one, I haven't really thought about it, but I do have a saying that I think I've always kind of lived by, but like, I want it to be more, I want to like kind of preach it, but it's grow through it, don't go through it. Like, take those experiences and grow. Don't just go through life. Just don't go through this experience and not take something away from it. Like, grow, whether that is growing your career, you're going back to school, you're growing your relationship, you're communicating more, you're growing with self-love, like you're taking care of your body more, however it may be. Find something to take away from that experience, even if it's a negative experience. Like, I feel like we can always take something away from anything that we go through. And so I think that's like the best way for me to describe how I'm going to enter 2025 is I'm going to really take that motto of grow through it, don't go through it, a little bit more seriously. and kind of be like, okay, well, this is really affecting me, but how can I make it better? Like, how can I take what I'm going through and make it to a point where I'm not so like down in the dumps, or this goal of like wanting to bookbind or whatever. Like, okay, let's actually do it. Like, how can I make myself actually get into it and do it and make it a prioritize it compared to all the other things that are on my plate? And so I think having something like a word that embodies your year or a saying also can help you reach those goals a little bit better.
I like that. I think I said earlier that I was trying to listen more. So I think that might be my word, is like just listen to what the universe is throwing at me, and not trying to take control. Just listen more.
I love that one too.
I have no idea. Like, I don't know who the person I'm going to be is in 3 weeks from now. Like, I feel like once I get there, I will get down and set goals. I will see where, like, we want to make our plans for, but I feel like I'm kind of in this point where I'm like, I don't even know who I am at this point, because all I am is just like out of control. So
I think that's so okay though, and I think like a lot of people think they have to have this like idea and vision of who they are and what they want out of the next year or their life, and it's okay to change that vision. It's okay to change. I mean, we all grow. We are not. I mean, I'm not the same person I was a year ago. Like, even a few weeks ago, like, we continuously grow. And so to keep yourself in such a tight little box is not doing anything for you. And so
it's not realistic.
It's not that too. It's not realistic. So, taking that time out of saying, I have no idea who I am. Like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what next year is going to look like. I mean, next year could be your best year yet, but you don't know that because you're in such a huge transitional phase.
Yeah, and January 1st is just a day. Like, you don't have to have everything figured out by January 1st. Like, that's crazy.
You don't even have to set goals. Like, I feel like a lot of people do set goals in January, and I don't remember, was it last year? I saw someone who were like, I don't set goals in January. I don't do it because I know that those goals that I set in January are going to be unrealistic. I set my goals like
quarterly or something,
3 or 4 months later, when I know, and then I just run it through that point because then I know what I am capable for that year. Because we're going through, like, November and December are just such
busy. It's just chaos.
Chaos, like, months, and especially for military families, because they're trying to juggle all those holidays and work and trying to maybe potentially go home and see family or vice versa or whatever it may be in it, or they could just be really down and blue because they are doing the holiday solo because their significant other is on a deployment or a TDY or whatever the case may be. So, going from like 1,000 miles per hour to like, twink, like you're stopped, you're done, like, to like, oh, okay, I'm gonna set my goals for this upcoming year. And it's not, I feel like I feel like for me, it kind of sets me up for failure because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be super ambitious. Like, I can do this year, but then I'm not like mentally, I'm not like, I don't like you. Like, you don't know.
I feel like January should just be this month of like hibernation, this slowdown, and like let it slow down. Yeah, because after Christmas, everybody needs to slow down. Like, I know that
reset.
Just relax, and then maybe February set your goals. Like, see where you feel like once you've had a week or two to not buy presents, run to your neighbors, go, like, just stop.
Go to all the events. Go, because I mean, you're going to, work events for your spouse. You're going to your work events if you're working. You're going to the kids, if you have kids in school who have all these different activities. I mean, we have, oh my God, this week I think we've had something almost every single night for something for the kids, and I'm just like, I'm so tired. Like, mentally, it is draining. I love that idea. I think I may actually. I mean, I think I'm definitely going to stick with my
for January and just let it.
I'm cozy January. Like, it's the month to reset, refocus, read my books,
drink. It sounds so nice. Like, just get in a cozy chair.
So one thing I do want to try, I haven't tried it yet. Have you guys seen that stuff called bone broth hot chocolate, where it's like a high protein.
No.
It's high protein because bone broth, but it's hot chocolate. Apparently it's delicious.
Is it salty?
And I'm like,
I feel like that would be really
well, no, so you have to make sure you get bone broth that doesn't have like any salt or seasoning. So you either make your own bone broth, or you can purchase bone broth where it doesn't have the seasoning in it. And then you mix in cacao powder and milk into it. And apparently it is the warmest, coziest little treat. And it's a little treat because
and it's
also
filling too.
It's filling. It's giving you protein. And I'm like, I need that in my life. So like, I was like, I'm going to go. I've been seeing it all over my For You page. I don't know why it's all over my For You page, but it is. And I'm like, I think that's going to be like the great little like treat that I start like cozy up. I want to be more intentional. I do want to be more intentional with reading, like physical books, because I do a lot of Audible books because that's just what fits in my life. But
I always start the year out so strong. I'm like, oh, look at all these physical books I'm reading, and then it's like, oh my gosh, chores, yeah, and then it goes Audible, or even just reading on my phone because we're busy. And
it's so busy, and I did do like that was one of my goals this year, and I did do really, really well with that. Like I bumped up my one book to 2 to 3 depending on the length. So I did read quite a few, like whether it was like a physical book or on my Kindle, like I was physically reading. I did bump that up this year. I want to make sure that I continue that because I don't think I can do more than 3 in a month just because of how crazy and busy my schedule is. But I don't want to like slack off on it. And then I probably shouldn't pick such big books to read, but I wasn't really digging the Audible of Ways of the King. Like I liked it, but I found it kind of monotonish, so I was like drifting off. So I'm trying to do, you're gonna laugh, I'm doing, what is it called, where I'm listening and reading it at the same time at times, and then just reading it at times. So I'm really liking that. Not very far in it. So that's why I was like, I don't think that book is getting done before Christmas. Who knows? I might have Christmas break to do the whole book. But I think it's just
yeah, I mean that's the whole episode. You don't have to control it, right? Like that's the whole point of the military is you got to just roll with what comes at you, and being able as military spouses to be resilient and being able to be like, hey, it's fine. Like I know right now I am going to be in a mind where I am not in control of the situation, and I'm going to control all the tiny details, which isn't healthy either. But like I know that in a few weeks we're going to feel so good. Like there was divine timing and all of it. Like I honestly think because all of our stuff just got here the second, like all of it. So it's like, the job came when it needed to, because we would have been sitting in an empty house. Like you just have to kind of think about like all those things that like, okay, this is really what was meant to happen. And though it like is hard and it was stressful, like there was a lot of time. It was way too much time for our minds to kind of like just sit here. But like, it was good. We got this time with our family. We also got a kind of trial period of living near family. Like, is this for us? Is this not for us? Kind of thing too. So I feel like you roll with that. You just have to, whatever happens, make it work. I mean, sometimes that's moving home for deployment because your parents would need you around. Like there are things that like you didn't expect that to happen, but your dad calls and says, hey, I really need help around the house these 3 months. I know your husband's gone. Like things like that happen. And you just have to be like, okay, this is how we're going to do it. You just start shuffling the cards and moving them around until
and don't let anyone make you feel bad about it. Like, if you want to go home. If you want to stay. Like, just again, do what's best for your family. And that may change. You may say, I will never go home during a deployment. Like, it's not for me. I need my own space. But you never know what's going to come across your doorstep. So it is what it is.
Yep. I wanted to ask you guys this year, if you're listening, to help us share. So after 5 years, I feel like though we have episodes where we have hundreds of people that have listened to it, we have a lot of episodes who only get like 50 viewers. And we know that you're out there. We see you guys interacting with us, especially on TikTok recently. But we want to ask for you guys to share with your other military friends, share on your pages, because podcasting isn't something that everybody knows about. It's not something that is completely known, but we want you guys to have this resource because we spend our time talking to each other just that you guys feel like you have friends in your pocket. Like, so you have someone who's going through the same things or goes through crazier things, and you'd be like, oh, my life's easier than that.
So, you just need a fellow person to know that you are not alone. Like I guarantee you that even if the experience is slightly different, someone has gone through that experience just like you, and you're not alone. And that's why we're here. Like, we want you to know that we've got your back, and we're here to listen.
And going through it. I mean, if you binged our episodes, we both have been through, I think, 3 deployments since we started the podcast. We both had PCS multiple times. Like, we are literally in the trenches.
We're in the thick of it. Yep.
Yeah. We're doing the exact same things. We're not like these seasoned spouses who maybe just have been at the same duty station for 10 years and like they're just living super easy. That's not what we're doing.
No. And you know, and for those who are like who have it where they are at a duty station for a long period of time, like that's great and we love that. But you take, like I said, grow through it, and we are here for you. And it's one of those things where you have one thing, like I don't know how to explain it, like everything is different no matter what you do. Like even if you feel like you know everything about the military, like we learn every time we come onto this podcast, we're learning something new, and we want to make sure that we're sharing that with all of our followers, that there are so much out there that you may not know, whether you've been in for a year, 15, 20, 30, however long. Our community is growing and it's understanding the needs of our community. But no matter what changes, that community of feeling a part of and being heard will never change. And so we're just taking that one step of, we want your voices heard. We want to hear you. We want to share. And that's what the podcast is really all about.
Yeah. So if you can if you can subscribe, if you can follow, we haven't said it over the years, but please start doing it because we need to grow and get to the more of the military spouses. And that the best way for us to do that is through you guys, our listeners who are here all the time with us, and you helping us share the message to people. So thank you for hanging out with us. First episode of the season. We have so much. I know the next episode is going to be with a really great resource. So you guys need to subscribe because then you'll know that we're coming. So
and you can, follow us on all of major podcast platforms. We're over on YouTube now. We post clips on TikTok, so you can go over there. I mean, we are a little bit of everywhere. So if you want to follow wherever fits your vibe, please just kind of interact with us. We want to know what you guys want to hear and listen to, because that's why we're here.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with us. We will catch you on the next episode. And as we like to say,
Ruck Up Buttercup.